I would like to introduce Senator Bryce Marlatt this morning, and he will give us a legislative update, and then if you guys have questions following his presentation, I'm sure he would be happy to answer them. Thank you.
I'll be happy to answer any questions, as long as they're not difficult. We'll save those for the speaker when he gets here. So. If I spill this and run your soundboard, we'll take it out of the house.
Let me bring you a chair. You said you couldn't do that.
I think it's all right there.
Just watch that cord. That's what I worry about more.
You guys may want me electrocuted. Well, it's great to be here, and congratulations, John, and your staff for being the Chamber Member of the Month. That's a great honor. Did you get to sponsor breakfast with that naming? Or?
No, we didn't do that. That's from Northwestern.
Oh, okay. Well, they'll have you sponsor a lunch or something. But anyway, it's great to be here, and I look forward to. I want to go by and look at the turf when I leave here. I've got to head out, but I want to go by and see that. That's a great deal. I remember walking across stage down there, and it was very, very hot that day, and but that is a neat deal. It's great for not only Northwestern, but great for the community. And I know it took a lot of support from this community, and this community. That's a lot of the reason why Northwestern is the type of university it is because of the support that it gets from the community. We had some students from Northwestern. That was this week, wasn't it? That we had students from OLAP there. Had a lunch, and all the legislators were able to come down and visit with some of the kids that are on the Oklahoma Promise and see what it means to them. And that was great to have them there. We've got it's really cool. We've got a lot of students, not just from Northwestern, but from the area high schools that spend time at the Capitol. I'm always having to take other people's page slots or sometimes even pay for my own page for the weeks because we're only allotted 4. But we've got a tremendous amount of participation there from our young people, and it's fantastic because, to tell you the truth, we've got a tremendous amount of participation from all kinds of people from my district at the Capitol, especially whenever budgets are like they are. But when you talk to the urban legislators, and they're like, man, nobody, I live right here. Nobody ever comes up here to see me, and they're like, they don't know who I am, and they're like, your constituents stay so informed, and they're always up here, and it's amazing how involved the rural communities get and how aware they are of what's going on. And I think it's because we've learned that if we're not at the table, we're on the menu, so we just as well be involved. So that's a tremendous thing. I had a girl from Winoka, Kelsey Hull, page for me this week, and she was a pleasure to have. She was a lot of fun. Very bright girl. She sat I was presiding Wednesday afternoon, I believe, and I had her come up in the chair with me and let her ring the gavel whenever we closed the roll a time or two. But she was able to see some procedural stuff, and then was invited to meet with the dean of the law school at Oklahoma University. She's planning on wanting to go to law school at some point, so her page advisor, they were leaving, so she said, I'm not sticking around with everybody so you can sit in this meeting. But she had a great time, and I think she paid for Speaker Hickman before Kelsey Hull at Winoka, maybe last year. So she saw both sides, and great girl, great to have her. I didn't know what you guys had. I see all these things rolled up on the ground, and I didn't know what they were. I thought it was a cane you were using, John, but somebody told me it was an umbrella, so I didn't know what those were used for. But when I was coming in, I came through Winoka, and the river was it was unbelievable. I was going to stop and take a picture so that I could give it to Valencia. I don't know if Valencia had seen that river that way before ever or not, but I was driving too fast. I couldn't get the picture taken. So anyway, we've got, it's obviously, you know, the budget is the driving force on everything. We've got a lot of things going on. It's deadline week. This week and next week are the last weeks to get the bills out of the opposite chamber bills that have come over, to get them off the floor and heard. And following that, we'll start working on conference committee reports, and then also the budget will be the driving force, because we've got all of our policy stuff pretty much on the wind down. We actually sent, I think the Senate, we actually sent more bills to you guys this year, right? Than they sent to us, which is telling me that we must have had a lot better legislation that we passed initially, right? But it tells me that the committee process is working. The House has kind of divided up some committees, and we've done some different things on committee structure and changing how we do some of our rules and our bills, and it's really kind of streamlined how we operate a little bit this year. It's been very effective. But what it's done is it's allowed us to get things accomplished a little quicker, so that we can spend more time on the budget moving forward from here. Because typically we would be this week, maybe even until late last night, maybe even Friday, and then even, you know, Thursday or Friday next week, trying to get everything accomplished so that we could really start diving into the budget. It's going to be a tough year. We've got $611 million less than we had last year certified to spend. Has nothing to do with revenues. It has everything to do with the fact that we've got a lot of off the top money that's designated, that never sees the hands of the appropriators to be able to send that out. That's been it's proving to be very problematic, and it's going to prove to be very problematic to the agencies. We tell people, I know that I don't know exactly what the House is saying, but on the Senate side, who's going to get cut, what's the cuts, and we say everything's on the board. It's hard to say that. It's difficult to say that, but that's the fact of the matter. When you can only spend 95% of what they certify, and the budget numbers are actually coming in a little less than what we thought. We thought we were going to have 5% money that we carry over from the previous year. We were notified last year that we're not going to have the 5% money. It's not going to be 4. It's not going to be 3. It's going to be closer to 2. So that kind of is problematic, because we thought that's some money that would be able to fill the gap. But there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of there's revolving funds we can look at. We've got looking at some there's some monies that were used that were brought in, about $65 million for the sale of the railroad that the Department of Transportation owns. Statutorily, we're supposed to spend all that money on repairs and maintenance for other rail, but we're looking at ways that we can get around that, so that we can access that money to try to help fill the budget gap. And then also another tool that we've used for a long time, a lot of people say that we haven't, but is the treasurer's funds for unclaimed property and the interest that it generates. That's something that we've used numerous times, maybe every year. Do you know, Speaker, have we done every year since you've been there? That we've used that money to help fill the budget gap. And we don't use all of it. We use enough that there's always enough money in there that if there's a run on that fund, that we can make anybody who claims their property whole. That's not ever going to be an issue. As far as transportation, I saw where the AGC is running ads now saying don't do a U-turn, we can't stop funding of transportation. That I agree with the fact that we've done a lot for transportation. I was a transportation subcommittee chair on appropriations for 4 years, and we made tremendous strides. We've made tremendous strides on the CURB fund, the County Infrastructure Road and Bridge Program. It's a huge issue for us here in Northwest Oklahoma, and it's something that is huge for the entire state, actually. I'm cautiously thinking about how to say this. Without rating that fund, you know, the last thing we want to do is get to the 10-yard line, say, look, you know, we've gotten this far as our bridge program, and look at how much advancement we've made with our roads, because we spent so long, we spent 22 years without ever adding to the maintenance fund on roads and bridges, which is why we got to where we're at, to immediately turn back, because a lot of people are saying, let's get the money from transportation, to immediately stop that, completely turn back, I think is irresponsible. However, if we can take a 5-year plan to, you know, a 7 or 8 year plan, where you draw it out a little longer, it allows you to spread some money out to other agencies that are also core functions of government. On energy issues, the ad valorem for wind turbines, the ad valorem abatement, you get a 5-year abatement. That bill is at the House. No, it's over here.
Passed yesterday. House board said it up to you.
Okay, it's coming back as amended to with the date of 1/17. So any wind farm that is not selling that is selling before 1/1/17 will still be eligible for that 5-year abatement. Any wind farm that is selling 1/2/17 is not eligible for that 5-year abatement on ad valorem tax. The goal here is to stop the bleeding. We know that's a big deal, but it's costing the state a tremendous amount of money. I think last year it was about $36 million that it cost the state, because whenever they're getting that abatement on their ad valorem, the state is then having to reimburse the county on that rate. So we're actually coming out of pocket to reimburse the counties for that. So the goal, and when you've got all these projects coming on, it's a 5-year deal. You have a snowball effect. That more and more, and so the idea was to get the bleeding stopped and know that we're going to get out of that business. So that is going to be a big deal. The industry is, I should say, agreeable to that. I mean, obviously they're not saying take one of our incentives, but they understand the position we're in. They understand that it's something that they need to go ahead and take care of, and so they've been agreeable, and they don't feel like it hurts them competitively with neighboring states. Also, on energy, we've got a couple of bills out there that are I think pretty important. One of them is a taking bill. It clarifies in Oklahoma Constitution, the mineral estate is a dominant estate. We've got some cities who are wanting to, and other political subdivisions who are looking at doing different rules, regulations that would limit you and I, who I don't own any minerals, but you and I who possibly could own minerals, from enjoying those mineral rights. And that is a private property issue, and if a political subdivision is going to limit your ability to enjoy those resources and to profit from those resources, then because of public interest, then that's a taking, and it should be they should be reimbursed by that political subdivision. So we've got a bill that addresses that, and then also we have a bill that says that any sort of regulations that go on, as far as they call it the preemption bill, that cities and counties can pass ordinances that have to do with noise and traffic and different things like that. But anything that supersedes what the Corporation Commission does would not be used. The Corporation Commission would their rules and regulations would supersede that have other political subdivisions. They've been the governing body on oil and gas and energy for 100 years and or over 80, and there's no need to start to change that and have all kinds of different regulations in every single different community that we have. With that being said, Speaker, do you want him to speak and then? Okay. I'll turn it over to the Speaker. We did have this week, I thought, one of the best, very emotional. I'm sure you guys had him in the House, but I'm not for sure. Senator Holt, we did a resolution on the Senate side for the state employees who were involved in the Oklahoma City bombing. We oftentimes recognize, all the firefighters, all the first responders, and what they did to how they came together. But we wanted to recognize the state employees that were there and some of the state employees that lost their lives. We had them on the floor this week, honored them. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I still remember. I remember my mom telling me I know exactly where I was when JFK got shot. I remember exactly where I was when I heard about the bombing. Devastating, but it really set the Oklahoma standard and made people realize, you can try to terrorize us, you can try to scare us, but we actually will run right back in trying to save our friends and our neighbors. And you see it every day, every year during grass fire season, communities just coming together. So that was a really, really neat deal. But turn it over to Speaker.